Hey guys, today we are going to start our Unit 3, which has to do with place value. Last year in 4th grade, we introduced place value with decimal places up through the 100th place, and today we're going to review those 4th grade concepts before we move forward with your 5th grade concepts. So today our objective is we will review and explore decimal fractions through the 100th place. All right, in your notes, we're going to have to go back one. I do want you to write Unit 3 place value in your table of contents and on a new clean page as the title. So go ahead in your journal, write Unit 3 place value in your table of contents and on a new clean page. And then we will start our review. If you need to pause the video here, go ahead and pause the video. All right, so I want you to just put your pencils down and pay attention. If you are in front of me and you want to try these on your own, you are more than welcome to do so. If you are not wanting to draw the grid paper out, I completely understand. Just pay attention as we go. So we have a few questions that are in front of you that you need to think about when it comes to fractions and numbers and place value. The first question I ask is, how do you say and write this number in word form and as a fraction? The second thing that we're going to look at is, how do we fill it in a pictorial model if we are asked to do that? So the first thing I'm going to do is answer the very first question that is there. And it says, how do you say and write this number in word form and as a fraction? So you're looking at the number that is down below. And I know that that is 25 hundredths. So the first thing that I would do is I would write it as 25 hundredths. That is THS. Then I'm thinking to myself, how do I write that as a fraction? Oh, I remember, if I can see it, I can say it, I can also write it. So to do the fraction, I would say, okay, that is 25 hundredths. Remember your numerator and your denominator. And that is in word form and fraction form, and we have it in decimal form. Now the last part is to fill it in. How do you represent this in the pictorial model? So I would fill in 10, and I would fill in 20, and then I would count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. Now, here's one that we do. So we're going to do the same thing on this one. How do you say and write this number in word form, in a fraction, and also as a pictorial model? So this reads 4 tenths. Take a moment, pause the video here, and see if you can do this one in word form, and as a fraction, and as a pictorial model. Okay, so check your work here. You should have 4 tenths written in words. You should have 4 tenths written as a fraction. You have 4 tenths already written as a decimal. And remember, the long bars are your 4 tenths. So you would have shaded in those. If you created your bars at home, you would shade in these that are here. Okay, we're going to try another one. And again, if you're at home, you can create the grid that's here. It's 100 frame. If not, completely understand it's a lot to draw out. But let's go ahead and try this one as well. How do you say and write this number in word form and as a fraction? You will also represent it as a pictorial model. So go ahead and pause the video here and see if you can do this one. It looks very similar to the one that we did last, but remember, it's a different value number. So if you notice, this reads 400. So you would write out 400 with the THS, which as a fraction is 400. And in pictorial model, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 tiny squares for your 400. All right, we're going to keep on moving. Make sure you checked your work. If you need to fix something, pause the video here and check your work. All right, here's another I do. So pause here. You can put your pencils down and watch as I go. So I do. We're going to draw a line connecting the following numbers where they belong on the number line. So if I look between my 0 and my 1, there are 10 dash marks. So those are marked as tenths. So I am going to look and see the numbers that are here. I'm going to read them out loud and say them out loud. And then I'm going to draw a line connecting where they go. So the first one reads 2 and 9 tenths, which 2 and 9 tenths is going to be right before my 3. 2 and 9 tenths, which is right here. This one reads 1 tenth. So if I'm looking at my 1 tenth, that is right next to my 0, which is right there. And then I have 2 and 5 tenths, which is 2.5, which if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I know that that is going to go right smack dab in the middle. And then this one reads 1 whole. If I had a 0 like that, it would still be the same. If I added another 0, I would have nothing in the place value. It doesn't change the value. I just have 1 whole. That one is simple. Those are 2. Numbers on a number line. Remember, you count how many dash marks there are, and that is the place value that you're marking for your fraction numbers. And if you have your Orgo workbooks, this is actually on page 8. It's on page 8. If you want to have it, this is our step up. And for those of you at home, you can practice this one. This is a we do. So those of you that are at home, if you have your journals, again, this is on page 8. So it says on this number line, the distance between each hole is 1 whole. It's marked by tenths, but you can look in between. It says mark the position of 4 tenths and 75 hundredths on the number line. So if I look at 4 tenths, that's pretty simple. I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and mark this one as my 0, 4 tenths. So this says is a we do. We're going to walk through this one together. Again, if you have your books, it's better to have it. And the second one says 75 hundredths. And you're like, well, this is marked by tenths. Well, I do know that my 75 hundredths has a 7 tenths. So I'm going to go to my 0 because I have 0 holes. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, if I look and I see my 7 right there in the middle between 7 and 8 would be my 75. I would mark it as 0 and 75 hundredths. Then where would you most likely write your 1 and 35 hundredths? Same thing. So that reads, I have 1 whole. There's my 1 whole. And then I count my 1, 2, 3. But then 35 is right there in the middle. So you would split it and you would have 1 and 35 hundredths. So today we are just reviewing your decimals as numbers and marking them on a number line and reviewing how to say them, how to build them in word form, in fraction form, and as decimal form. The next thing you guys are going to do is your exit ticket. It is working either with a partner for those that are in class or in breakout rooms for those of you guys that are at home, you can work with a partner, and it's on page 8. It is the step up number 1. It says, each large square is one whole. Shade in the parts of the fractions and write the matching common fraction. So the first one, it says 55 hundredths, which is already done for you. You will need to shade in 55 hundredths. Then on B and C, you need to create 8 tenths as a fraction in the box and 15 hundredths in the box, and then shade them in, and we will check to make sure you're on the right path before you do the independent work, which is on page 9. It's 2, 3, and 4, where at number 2 you will be shading in and building the fractions. On number 3, you are drawing a line to place these decimal fractions on a number line. And then on 4, you are turning the decimal fractions into a decimal. Remember, place value is important. And that is it for today. So if you don't remember, it's on page 8 and 9 in your Orgo workbook. If you have your Orgo workbook at home, make sure you take a picture and get them turned in. And good luck. Remember, we're going to do the exit ticket first, and then you will do your independent work. And I'll see you then.